Good morning, beautiful people of the Center for Spiritual Living. Hi. I missed you. It's so lovely to come back to Sonoma County. We have such a treasure, and we've built such a beautiful community. When I come home, I feel so rich because of the community I'm part of. Even though I've been to beautiful places in the world, there's something so lovely about home. Anyway, what are we talking about today? As you heard from our host this month, we've been investigating ideas that relate to the power of intention. And so while I was away, I was catching up on the reading of the recommended book of the month by the same title, The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. And it's a really lovely book. And the new edition is colorful and engaging, and I found it really captivating. And as I was reading through, I started to get some solid ideas about intention that I think are very helpful for me. One of them being that an intention is not really like a goal. It's not a checklist of things that you do to fix yourself, right? It's bigger than that. An intention is, I guess it's more like a vision that you have for your life, for what wants to happen in your life, that actually goes beyond the fixing part. It draws you through all the fixing into the greater yet to be. So a vision is a picture, a clear picture. It's an idea of how you or I might see myself in, a little bit down the road a bit. Not in what's going on right now. A little bit in this world, so I have to use my imagination. How would I be showing up in this state of fully expressing my intention? What would that look like? That's the idea of an intention. It's large. What would I be doing? Who would be there? What would I be feeling? What contribution would I be making to all of the world? What would it feel like? And then out of the excitement of that big, engaging picture, the details and the action plan is drawn out from it. I don't start with the action plan, I start with the big picture. So intentions are not so much about the specific things of what I want in my life. It's not, I want that much money, I want this kind of job, I want a different kind of, it's not so, it's got to be bigger than that. Broader, deeper, like the song said. It's got to pull on me. So intentions have to do with what wants to happen in my life. It's about expanding into the big idea of who you are supposed to be in this world, which is why they can make a person nervous. Right? Can make you think. You have to use your imagination, but you might not have met that person that you are to fully express yet. It's in progress. So as I was thinking about this, I realized there's a very important distinction between setting an intention as a way of expanding into your greatest, fullest expression versus setting an intention to get out of a mess, right? That's not really even an intention. It's a goal. It's self-help. It's a program. I don't know what it is, right? Getting out of a mess. Like, for example, if I really hate where I am, and what's going on in my life. And I say, I'm going to set an intention to get more money to fix that or get different employment. It's a goal, really. It's not an intention. And even if I achieve that, the working out of the goal won't really address the hate. Right? I have to have something larger than just wanting to get out of a mess. Because if I have something, say, an intention to be creatively engaged in the world in a way that makes a difference for all of humankind, you see, it's big and it's exciting, and then it doesn't really matter what bumps there are in the road. They just become part of the working out of the plot. The bigness of the intention is what pulls me through all of those things. I get excited because I'm about to discover how I'm going to get there. You know, a colleague, a minister, told me about how she reads books. She says she reads the end of the book first. And then, if she doesn't like the ending, she doesn't read the book. She says, why waste your time? She likes the ending, then she gets all excited about starting from the beginning because now she's going to find out, how do they get there? What are the twists and the turns and the plot and the characters and the things that have to happen? She loves it. That is the power of intention. It's the big enough idea of the end to draw you through all the drama of the plot. And it doesn't really matter how it gets there. In fact, there's not only one single way. There's twists, there's turns, there's surprises, there are moments when you think it's not gonna get there. That's the power of intention. So I'm reading the book, The Power of Intention, and I gotta tell you, so many things just popped out at me as I was reading through it. Like, for example, this next slide that I have, won't you please display it? Look at this. To realize your intentions, match them with your inner speech. Keep all inner talk focused on good reports and good results. Your inner speech mirrors your imagination, and your imagination is your connecting link to spirit. If your inner speech is in conflict with your intentions, your inner voice will win. So if you match intentions with inner speech, those intentions will ultimately be realized. There's so much in there that is so exciting to me, especially this part about your imagination is your connection to spirit, or Ernest Holmes said your intuition is God in you. And how this power that is in our mentality has to do with drawing us forward into our greater yet to be. So how do you find your great intention? Well, you've got to start with the end in mind. So forget about the how for the moment. Let me see if I can give you an example. So imagine you're a person who has the big intention of being a powerful advocate for abandoned animals. Then one day you're out in the social hall and you see a flyer for a trip to Bali. And you sign up to go on this spiritual quest vacation with your spiritual community. And off you go. You pack your bags and you're going to Bali. And then animal advocacy is not even on your radar right now. You're going on an adventure, right? And there you are standing in one of the temples in Bali. It's a World Heritage Site, and everybody's doing their thing, and you look over your shoulder and you see an abandoned kitten. And it's in trouble. It's distressed. It's got skin problems. It looks emaciated. It's ill. And you're in a foreign country. And you're in a culture in which cats are not revered. There's fear around cats. And you don't speak the language. And you're on this tour, and it's got an itinerary, and it's moving on. It's got to go on to other things. But you notice your intention won't leave you alone. You want to go, but the intention won't let you. It's not convenient. Now, imagine this, because that's actually what happened in Bali. And I watched this lady, and as I watched her, it reminded me what happens when you have a big, hairy intention for your life. How it won't let things be. And it doesn't wait for the appropriate time to announce itself. It pushes It disturbs. So I could see her like this, and so she had to go with the intention. She hired her own cab. She went back to this temple. On the way, she looked up the Balinese word for cat and wandered around this big temple complex saying to people, "Cat, you trying to communicate?" And people looking at her like she's crazy. And, finally, in this huge complex, she finds this kitten under some leaves at the base of a big tree. She finds it. And then she hires somebody to take her, after she's researched, to find Bali's one and only cat rescue place. And she takes it there and gets the cat attended to. And I'm watching her and seeing that in all of this, which could be very stressful, she's not stressed. Do you see what I mean? She's just working out the plot and the twists and the turns. And when she's telling the story, there's a certain beauty. The intention pulls her through. Now, if I were assigned the task to do it, I could see the stress come because it's not my intention. It's hers. And the power that draws her through the twists and turns. Beautiful to watch. So what is your intention? Sometimes we have to tease that out. We've got to find it sometimes. And I thought, what can I bring you from Bali that will help us tease out some of our intention? And what I thought about was the Balinese Hindu culture that has, it's a monotheistic culture, one overarching divinity that has three aspects. They're not separate from each other. They're just different modes of reality, which on the first slide are perhaps familiar to you as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, known as, on the next slide, the creator, Vishnu the sustainer, and Shiva the destroyer, or more accurately, the dissolver. And I think that if you were to contemplate these three components, these aspects of reality, that might help bring to your awareness what your intention might be, or at least start paving the way to it. We start from the bottom, for example, Shiva, the dissolver. It can present for us the lovely question to contemplate: what in my life wants to be dissolved? We're talking about the obstacles, the things that stand in the way of us being drawn forward by our intention. And, it's different things for different people. And isn't it the case that it's sometimes easier to see other people's blocks than our own? So we just ask the question so as to invite the awareness of what it is. It's a very powerful process to just do that. And it might be the case when you are aware of what your blocks are, that you aren't right now immediately capable of doing anything about it. But keep in mind, the power of intention is that it draws you through the twists in the plot that help you adjust it. It's just becoming aware of what it is. An interesting side story while I'm talking about Shiva, one of the temples we went to visit is dedicated to Shiva, Goa Gaja. And when we got there, I said to the tourists on one of the tours that I was leading, I said, don't go as tourists. Don't go as a group of people, trying to check off your bucket list one more World Heritage Site. Saw, been there, got the t-shirt. I said, this is a temple that's dedicated to Shiva, and people go there to become aware of their blocks and have them dissolved. And sometimes we aren't aware of our blocks because we're living out in our language, out in our activity, in our picture taking. So I want you to go, and even when the guide speaks, instead of just absorbing the information, look with spiritual eyes at what is present at the temple. And I was getting all metaphysical on them, but they took to it. So when the guide was speaking, they were standing there looking with awe and wonder. And then when it was time to go into the temple, they proceeded like in this ceremonial way. And this young Balinese guide came up to me and he said, who are these people? And I said, why? He said, because they are not like other tourists. And it occurred to me that that is the power of intention, because they were enlivened by their intention to receive awareness about their blocks. And it drew them into a different expression. It was very beautiful to watch. Now, the second part of the Trinity is Vishnu, the sustainer. And contemplating this aspect would present to us a similar question like this: what wants to be sustained in your life? Now, sustain is similar to maintain. We're talking about something that is already there in your life, but maybe it's fallen into disrepair, neglect, forgotten about. So the question is, what needs to be taken out of the closet, taken off the shelf, dusted, brought back into the light, so that it can be part of the unfolding plot that leads to the ending of your vision? You know, in Hinduism, the story is that when things on earth fall into disrepair and chaos, Vishnu takes on form by means of an avatar and appears on earth again to establish order. So the question could then be for us, what form do I need to take on again in my life to bring order? I was talking to a friend of mine, a lady friend of mine, and she was telling me how sad she was that she had apparently given herself away in a dysfunctional friendship. You know how that can happen when you invest so much into a friendship that you kind of lose your own self. And she said, I feel so sad because I realized there are parts of me that kind of disappeared. I used to be an adventurous woman, she said. And I said to her, well, it's not gone. And she said, you're right. And she told me about the process of bringing that out again and putting it on display in her own life. And that's the power of this contemplation. What needs to be sustained, maintained in your life? The third part of the Trinity is Brahma, the creator. And with that contemplation comes the question, what in your life wants to be created? Now this is the thing that hasn't been there yet. It wants to be in your life, so you might not know what it is yet, because you haven't read the rest of the book yet. But because you know the end, it's going to pull you through it, and the contemplation is just the reminder that when I'm being pulled through, there is definitely going to be the opportunity for newness, to be open to different, to be open to change, surprise. Let me give you another example of what an intention might be like, something close to home. Our own Center for Spiritual Living is part of a national movement called Centers for Spiritual Living. And it is united by an intention that we call the global vision. And it goes something like this. Let's have the slide. We see a world free of homelessness, violence, war, hunger, separation, and disenfranchisement. We see a world in which there is generous and continuous sharing of heart and resources. We see a world in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We see a world in which borders are irrelevant. We see a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through a resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. You see, it's big. And it has the energy to pull forward, and it carries on. Next slide. We see a world in which fellowship prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We see a world in which we live and grow as one human family. We see a global community of people caring for and about each other and the entire human family, thereby bringing the gift of active compassion to the world. You see, that's the ending of the book. Now we're figuring out how to get there. You see, because as a movement and as a planet, we are not there yet. But it is so thrilling that the energy of it helps us consider what wants to be dissolved that I need to let go of, what do I need to bring back out, and what do I need to allow newly to be created in my life for this to happen. It says we see a world in which forgiveness is the norm, so that helps us consider, I might need to take that nonviolent communication class because I don't even know how to talk to people I love. I don't know how to grant people I disagree with safe passage through my mind yet. But I know where I'm going. I'm working on being open to the twists in the plot to get there. See, if I start, though, with what's wrong with the world, I start making a list of what I got to do, all the things that are bad about me and the world and life, then it becomes overwhelming. It becomes a task list that is oppressive. But if I'm pulled through by an intention, a vision, then that task list doesn't leave me exhausted. I go. Later on, Chris is going to sing a humorous song that illustrates what happens when we focus only on self-help, and we de-spiritualize this work and make it only about fixing ourselves. It's very funny. I think you'll enjoy it. And what I thought we would do today is I'll do a spiritual mind treatment about being open to receiving the awareness of what your intention for your life might be. You may already know, in which case this will just further illuminate it, or it may be the beginning of being open to what wants to happen in your life, the big thing, okay? So if this resonates with you, then even though I'm speaking in the first person in the prayer, you just identify as if the words are your very own words in your own mind. Very well. So I invite you to breathe in and exhale, letting your eyes close if that feels comfortable. As I, Edward, speak this word of prayer for and about everyone who identifies with it from the perspective that we are all one already and that the place that we are inhabiting is the one mind. That mind is the creator and creation. It is the all in all. We call it by various names: love and light and infinity and all-powerful, to point to the expansive reality that we are part of. I am remembering that there is no limit in infinity, and I'm recognizing that that infinity is my abode. And so I am declaring that there is that within me, within each one of us, that knows and knows that it knows because it is part of the infinity, that knows what our big, holy, high calling is. And that by means of this prayer, as this word is being spoken in consciousness, the laws of the universe immediately respond, aligning our conscious knowing with that deep sense of what wants to happen in life, in our lives. And there is a freedom and excitement in doing this. No stress, no effort, no coercion at all. A simple allowing and welcoming. So with a sense of gladness and gratitude, I release this word, which is my way of reminding myself to be gentle, to hold it lightly, to follow, to let my thinking be soft like water, to flow. Which is why I say, and I invite you to say with me, and so it is.